So we have Brian Coval back again. And still on oath. And Kevin, who has basically crushed this tournament. I don't think he's lost a match yet.
#1 overall seed.
This was a team effort, from what I understand. Kevin and another player who were both 6-0 and double drew and same team.
Wow.
Same 75, if I recall correctly, on Turbo Volkey.
So we may be looking at the team champions of this tournament as well.
Quite possible.
One of the cool things with the NYSE is there's this team component to it, right? You and 2 other buddies sign up as a team, and you're getting your match points, 3 points per win, 1 point per draw, and then top team gets it's a pretty sweet trophy. I've been told it's 100% crystal actually from the person who procured it. So
that's an amazing trophy.
Well, we got Moxon right off the bat. Ruby, Jet, Saga. Might be a Pearl. And a Sensei stop. All right, no wobble.
Where's that foil from?
No idea.
Like a secret layer type thing.
We get to
maybe.
see what's in hand. This is
Force,
great.
force, and
Maybe a Vamp Tutor? So many printings.
yeah.
Vamp Tutor, yeah.
Okay. I know. I saw that foil
Yeah.
earlier. I was like, "What is that?"
That's an interesting card right now because we do have on color Jet
Yep.
with a Sensei's top. Could draw into a spell at any point you wanted to.
That's a pearl, right?
Uh,
I think it's a pearl.
yeah, I think it's Jet Pearl. Yep.
Oh, yeah, it's pearl. Yeah. It's on color.
I like it. It's a cool looking proxy.
All right. So the strip
We're gonna
mine.
take a spin of the top.
Oh, Strip Mine. So the one Wasteland effect from Coval's deck, kind of a thing you're seeing a lot now in a wide variety of decks.
Just
the first
yeah,
Strip Mine.
everybody's playing kind of that type of effect because of Urza Saga out there right now.
Especially when you are a Demonic Tutor deck, Vampiric Tutor deck, having the ability to kill a land when you normally wouldn't be able to.
So one interesting thing to note is Kevin, within the top 3, it was Tundra, Saga, Caracas. So he has access to the Caracas right now on top if he wants it.
Has the Force. Okay, lots of jewelry from Coval's side as well, if you can count the Crypt as jewelry. Force on show and tell. Will there be a fight, or is that just going to go? Now you get to ask the question,
Is
Brian
it a bluff?
even have
Yeah,
one in
was,
hand?
was it a bluff,
Was there
right?
an Atraxa to
That's
show
the
and tell
beauty
in?
of show and tell. It could be a bluff.
Especially knowing that Kevin has the Force, is like pretty priced into forcing no matter what.
Yep.
Even though Kevin has a Caracas, the Atraxa trigger is so powerful, you can't really just be afford
Yeah,
to...
just being able to draw those cards, yeah. It's
If you think about how the Oath deck has Flash in it, it's already doing this extra step to get that. Strip Mine of Kevin's hitting the basic island. Perfect target. Nothing more frustrating than fetching a basic and having a Strip Mine, but this
Yep.
one's from hand. Here's a new fetch. I assume a black source, because we have an emerald, but not always guaranteed.
Yep, Underground Sea there.
I'd say probably, yeah. Is there a Bayou? I assume no Bayou. But there's Thoughtseize, so there might be.
Over in.
From on Brian's side.
Brian's
yeah,
side.
there is a Bayou.
Yep.
That was another one of our 75th cards that we agonized over for Eternal Weekends. Brian and I brought Oath to Europe and North America Eternal Weekends. I top 8'd in Europe, and then Brian top 8'd in North America with the Oath deck.
Very
So he's got
powerful
lots,
deck.
he's got lots of reps. It's a super powerful deck, and it can do really good things, or it can sit there and do nothing. So construct token number 1 comes in, and these construct tokens are immediately going to be a threat with the amount of jewelry that Kevin has.
You got 4 artifacts already out there.
Yeah, he's gonna be
4,
coming in for-
construct will
And
be
then
5,
for
and
six.
then
Construct with
Saga
Saga
is
6. Yep. No lands eventually.
This,
I mean, Kevin's been floating lands on the top of his deck, but
I mean, now the Caracas gets very good because we're threatening an attack. Ooh, a bobble off of the Saga. So that's going to protect him from Force of Vigor or a Force of Brian's side. Does Brian have a vigor in them, man?
That's
no,
it.
I think so.
Let's see. Brian's deck does not have that Force of Vigor.
No vigor. So it's kind of an interesting bobble. But
Maybe
what are
just-
the other
Yeah.
options?
I think it's pretty natural to, green deck, right? Trying to like,
Oh, he has
that's the
open deck list,
answer.
right?
Yeah. Oh, is it open deck list?
It's
Yeah,
open
open
deck
deck
list.
Oh, okay.
So it is interesting because it's like Kevin.
Kevin
Yeah.
has no hand, so
Right.
just saying beat me. The question is, the Saga searched already, so the Caracas is no longer floating
The
on the top.
Caracas is not there.
Or, it could be there,
Yeah.
but we don't know. what's there.
Theoretically, it could be there.
So if Brian,
not known to be
Brian
there.
can't get an oath trigger without first hitting 0 life, unless time walk happens.
Time Walk. I think what he might have been thinking is the Lotus into attracts a hard cast.
Oh, that's definitely a possibility.
So that would prevent that.
That is one way to cast that card.
2,
Yes.
3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Oko. Okay. As one blocker.
Oko is gonna make that Mana Crypt a 3/3 elk.
Will no longer be dealing us damage. So that's buys a turn.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With Brian at 8. So just 2 constructs to the face. Can't worry about an Oko, right?
No, not at this point.
No.
Not with how low.
Oh, that's the
Coval's
vamp
gonna be.
tutor, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, so that
So
must have been in hand the whole time. It was
Yeah.
off screen. So, what can we vamp tutor for here?
More artifacts?
Does it change the
No.
clock?
You can't cast that
there,
artifact though.
is there a removal spell to just try to like kill Coval right now, get rid of the elk?
Do we have any mana?
4, 5,
I
6.
mean, there's a swords.
That we've confirmed that is a pearl.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
there
it's
is
a
a
pearl.
swords. Yeah.
Okay,
The
so then it might be a
swords
swords-
is to
yeah.
9. Oh. Portable hole.
Yeah,
hole.
That'll do
yeah,
it.
there it is.
Got the elk.
That's
Looking
even
for
better.
the removal spell. Yep.
And
Very
that
nice.
is
Yep.
good
Well done.
game.
Very well done. That was some Saga gaming. if I've ever
That
seen
was some big Saga gaming right
Wait,
there.
there was a strip mine in that game, wasn't there? So the strip
Yeah.
mine went on a base on not
It went on Kevin's first land.
first land that
Yeah.
wasn't a Saga. That's a very common play pattern that has definitely changed over the course of Saga's existence in Vintage. People have recognized that the threat of Saga means sometimes you need to hold your Wasteland effect to make sure you just don't randomly take some constructs.
It gives you so
Well-
many angles of attack.
While these guys are sideboarding, I just wanted to do a cutaway back to the booth. We have some trophies, humongous trophies. All right, well, what do we got here? So this right here is for the team event. That is the top 3 players combined,
Yep.
and their points. So they would win this nice crystal trophy.
2 of them are in top 8. I wonder what team might win that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sign right there. And then this massive thing.
It is huge. This thing is huge.
It doesn't even fit on the camera. All right, this thing is the champion will carry this home. It's a NYSE
Good luck getting in
8.
that
Good
your
workout.
check on, right? Like,
Oh yeah, I mean this could be a weapon, but you might
well,
not.
don't tell the TSA that. Like,
No,
They,
yeah.
they will take it from you.
This is a great trophy that Nick Detweiler has been able to, over time, I think it's a similar Atlas feature on top of the trophy, and it'd be really cool to take one of these home.
don't let him lie to you. This thing used to be smaller. It's gotten bigger. It used to be a little smaller.
Awesome. Let's go back to the game. I think they might be done, not quite yet, but
It's okay. I'd like to see the sideboard.
okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
So
they're
we
going through
got some
sideboards right now.
sideboards here. On the left side would be. Okay.
So this is a tough. Turbo Volcate is a tough deck to conceptualize when sideboarding because it does a lot of different things. Like it's very straightforward what you do when someone plays a Jewel deck or a Doomsday deck. You know exactly what kind of cards to bring in. When the opponent is playing this toolbox deck, what are we going to prioritize as our game plan as the Oath player? What do we need to deal with? What do we not need to deal with? And what does Brian have here? There's a long goodbye. So if we just determine that Oswald, Constructs, or Luris is a problem, we could have that. But are those cards a problem for the Oath deck?
And what if the attack angle for lower sec, right, is like you got that again, what I said earlier about having this emergency escape valve where it's just like, oops, I just vault keyed you right out of nowhere.
I think 100% good to go. Force of Vicar, kill Saga, kill Nature's Claim, same idea. Null Rod, probably. An Oko. I kind of like the idea of an Oko.
I
in this
like an
matchup.
extra Oko in this matchup.
Now a more off-the-wall question. We know that there's a lot of ways to beat these Atraxas. Do we want to have some Sarah's emissaries in the deck? Technically
Yeah.
speaking, the Turbo Volkey deck is winning by attacking
Yeah.
creatures.
Even if they're taking all the turns,
Yeah.
yeah.
There might not actually be a way to remove a Sarah's emissary from the board. I think the way you would beat that would be... The problem is the way you beat that would be dress downing, looping with Luris, but that kills your constructs.
Yeah. Oh, one heads-up play that we saw earlier in the rounds when Hank was doing an end-of-turn dress down on the Leovold that was happening there in response to the trigger. Then
Vamp
Vamp
Tutor,
Tutor
yeah, Vamp
into
Tutor.
what he wanted.
Oh,
Pretty
very cool.
solid play, yeah.
I really love these Luris decks, and people might say they're too strong or whatever, but the kind of gameplay that they put out is just really interesting. It's deep, and there's lots of different.
You get a lot of
paths.
intricate lines and play patterns with the lure stacks, right?
Absolutely.
So on the Luris side, there's 3 containment priests, so that's less than I would have thought, but still a very good number.
Still respecting the matchup, right?
Yeah, 2 Lavinia, probably not. Maybe on the play, Lavinia could be okay. Swords, I don't think you need more swords. Having access to a swords or a balance or something like that in your deck seems like a good idea.
And the tricky part with swords, right, is like, yeah, you get rid of the Atraxa, but they already saw all these extra cards, right? So
Right.
it's like,
It's
Unless you
tough.
dress
Does
it
it get
down.
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Just it down. Does it resolve after the attracts? I mean, there's 10 cards off the top.
Yeah.
Probably a force in there.
Flusterstorm, probably. Yeah, probably Flusterstorm. Oh, they have a Null Rod of their own. I love that. That is the most vintage thing that's happening right now. Both these decks like their artifacts and want to use their artifacts, and both these decks have Null Rods on the board because that's how strong Jewel is.
You need to shut it down, and you got to control it. And if you want to like lift it up with the paradoxical,
Well, the nice thing is with Oswald, right, it's kind of a toolbox, you know,
Right.
so it's like you can kind of grab it when you need it.
that's X or less, depending on the converted mana cost.
1 up.
One
One
up.
up, yeah.
Okay.
So you can go from any of your Vexing Baubles up.
Top
You can go your
theoretically
zeros
if you
up to
wanted
1,
yeah.
but after that, like you can get rid of your Null Rod, but you won't be able to find a 3-drop because
Yeah.
you're a Luris deck. Oswald, a very interesting card. I'm really happy that it's starting to see some like serious play in the format. Reminds me of a lot of like the Birthing Pod kind of
Yep.
cards and use of old modern. All right, so looks like we're resolving mulligans. Not sure how far down on mulligans are. I really like, especially when I'm on camera, but even when I'm off camera, using a die,
Showing, yep.
keeping track of how many mulligans. You can either do 1 for 1 mulligan, or you can do 6 for 6
Six
cards.
down to 6, yeah, down to 5, yeah.
That's always a nice way so that you know, your opponent knows, and if you're on camera, then the audience gets to know. But you don't need to think about the audience when you're on camera. That's extra.
Yeah, Coval's like, I've been here. I'm doing my thing.
I'm always keeping
More
7.
mulligans. I wonder if that's to 6 or to 5. I would say you're likely to see Kevin do a lot of mulligans, especially on the draw, because at this point, he probably needs to have a force in his opening hand. A lot of Brian's mulligan heuristics as the Oath player are going to be mulligan to an A+B combo on turn 1, or a good combo on turn 2, like with protection or,
Right.
or something like that. That kind of Oath and Tell heuristics was really popularized by a Japanese player, No Props. I wrote an article about it. And then Brian and I both put out lots of different Oath videos over the last half year or
There's
so.
a lot of good Oath content that's come out within, the past couple of years here.
So, I would assume no Vexing Baubles post-board here, right?
It doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, you probably want to fight those blue battles.
What do you think about 1 Vexing Bauble, so that if your opponent gets a Citadel going, you could maybe get it off your Oswald
I
or
feel
your
like
Saga?
Kevin probably kept in at least one.
At least one,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah. If you know that's your best card to potentially put down,
So Bayou Pass into Strip Mine plus
Uh,
I think that was Wasteland
is that a Lotus?
and
Wasteland plus Lotus.
Is that yeah?
I think this is Lotus, yeah.
Okay, that's a wasteland, yeah. And that's another thing Brian has to think about, because this deck does have all these wasteland. You need to have multiple pieces of mana in your hand too.
All right, we got Abrupt Decay on the Lotus.
Wow, that's cool.
I don't want you to have mana. Oh, in
Containment
response. That's what you really wanted to save it for, but okay, well, it's an uphill climb from
I
here.
mean, Kevin's not playing any other spells right now, right? There's no lands in play. Coval still kind of has control of being able to dig out of this.
Oh, 2 in the side.
Yeah, there's going to be
So
2 in the sideboard.
I had pointed out the long goodbye, but the abrupt
Show
decay,
and tell. Do you think this is a bolus to Citadel? Getting show and tell, dude?
that's the only thing it can be that will go through a containment priest and draws the force so well. So respecting it.
Well, Kevin's like, you know what? I only need Lotus, Containment Priest, and some protection.
Yeah, containment priest is really hard for this oath deck to beat. The oath deck doesn't have multiple plans that get around containment priest. It has 2 plans that run straight into containment priest, and then you have Oko. So it is nice to see 2 abrupt decays and a long goodbye in the sideboard. Maybe those all come in knowing there's 3 containment priests that we have to kill. Containment priest, once it's in play, and these games are going to go longer, especially if you're trying to win with attacking with 2, Oko a strong answer to containment priest as well.
Yeah.
Well, and there's just such a mana advantage on Coval's side, right? Like, Kevin really just can't play anything unless it's like a force of will at this point.
We've
went down
got
pretty low.
a lonely Tolarian Academy.
Yep.
It's more for show.
Yep. He's in Hellbent, is he?
It's got to be low number of cards because there was
Yeah.
a force and a lotus
Yeah.
and mulligans. So we're actually almost at the point where Brian, if he had a Citadel, could just cast the Citadel now, right? 6. So does that mean the show and tell was bait?
That's true, right? And that's the beauty of show and tell, right? You can always kind of
never
like
know.
play that mind game with it.
Gotta make him have it, but
I think it was.
It does feel like kind of that was a bait spell.
yeah.
Such a cool thing to do.
Smart.
We'll see. Maybe he was waiting to get force back up for his hard cast Citadel. It's pretty nice that we're hitting triple black here. 2 C's and a orchard.
What's Atrax's casting cost again?
7.
Yeah.
Nope, it is a Citadel, so maybe
Okay.
Citadel is
we
coming
were
down.
talking
Citadel
about when he
coming
just,
down.
instead of being a
It wasn't a bait
instead
spell.
of
Yeah.
being a bastard, he just has it all. Maybe.
All right.
Wow. Well, maybe waiting for a land drop to give.
Yep.
Right.
Wow. Abrupt decay off the top.
What else is next?
Oh my.
All right, a
There's the land
land.
drop to give, so no more land. Has a fetch though.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Wow, just right off the top goes
Right off the
abrupt decay for containment priest right into a
And there's not even that
Traxa.
much life left down to 3.
Yeah.
You don't have too many spells to cast off the top before you can't cast a Traxa anymore.
Where's a bolt when you
An
need one?
unreal sequence of cards there off the top for Coval.
Oh
And
gosh.
Central Claim, DT,
Wow.
Mox.
And Kevin's
that's it,
seen
yeah.
enough. Kevin's seen enough. Let's go to game 3.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
Your reward for hard casting Bold Citadel and still tinkering it in.
Yep.
Amazing.
This is a classic Justin eats his words. I was like, oh, show and tell. Containment Priest, there's not a lot of plays around
Yeah.
it. Well, hold on, what about just a Citadel? Where's the Vexing Bubble when you needed it?
Exactly, right?
Probably coming back in on the play. If they ever left. We don't know.
That's true. But again, like I said, play versus draw, I feel like some number probably came out.
It'll be fresh on his mind, Citadel.
Yeah.
Stopping Citadel cards.
Well, that's, yeah.
Classic vintage deck where you have all these cool things that are happening, and then you just tinker Citadel. Well, we didn't even tinker this time.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because it's like earlier you're saying it's like, yeah, it's technically like the worst Citadel deck, but it's doing some work right
Any
now.
deck that can play a Citadel deck is still going to be good.
It's still doing some work.
Wild game. But kind of expected considering the amount of mulliganing that Kevin had to do.
Yeah.
A lot of 2-for-1ing himself. Does feel like correctly made the assumption that there was a Citadel coming off the show and tell
Yep.
and countered the right spell. So, like, good play from that side. Also, like, the Abrupt Decay on the Black Lotus, that was a big win for Kevin in that game.
Well,
Now-
and Coval's list has how many abrupt decays?
I believe only 2.
So that was like a bit of a risk, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like there's only one other abrupt decay
That was the
in the
second
deck to pull it out.
Of 2. Yeah.
And the long goodbye for if we're talking about Containment Priest.
Yeah.
So honestly, I do think the changes that Coval made specifically for this tournament seem to be paying off a lot. Having more answers to Containment Priest in the board. This is at least 2 more answers to Containment Priest than the last list I've seen him play. Having the Thoughtseizes in the main to help beat these combo matchups that he ran into multiple times in the tournament. This is the kind of deck building, and in my opinion, specifically vintage deck building, that you can really be rewarded for as a competent deck builder.
That's fair.
And especially in a metagame like this where it's so in flux and there's so many new cards in the format right now.
Everybody's trying to figure
Yeah,
out what
everybody's
to
trying
do
to
here.
figure out what to do to build it optimally.
So Tundra Sapphire, no Bobble, no Lavinia, nothing like that.
That's screaming end of step Containment Priest, right?
Yeah, sneaky.
What about Fluster? Are there any Flusters? There was one in the sideboard. Sometimes you can play some in the main. So we're representing multiple cards at that point, which is nice. Let's see. I would not be surprised to see an end of step Containment Priest. Containment Priest, interesting. Ooh, Black
Oh,
Lotus.
Lotus.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold
this
on,
is-
we're gonna cast
we
something.
could get wonky here.
Lotus, Forbidden Orchard,
Both
Oath.
That sounds like a Brian Coval hand.
Yeah.
That's how you win a vintage tournament.
Brian, where was your luck
But not good against Containment Priest.
last weekend?
I needed you last weekend.
I needed you in the team event with Alex.
Okay.
All right, this.
DT got one floating.
Okay, no Forbidden Orchard yet.
But there is one in hand.
Oh,
Chose to play Tropical Island instead.
there are wastelands threatening.
That's another push and pull. You wasteland an orchard. Am I making a token now? Do we need to keep a token in play? Is that token going to later come back and delete my whole life total in
Yeah.
Yeah.
however many turns?
I could see a. Is there a Spell Pierce in here?
There's a Flusterstorm
Yeah, there's
and a Spell Pierce
Pierce.
and probably another Flusterstorm.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so
A lot of things that Kevin could
played
be
around-
representing.
well, we didn't really play around Spell Pierce because we played a Lotus, but
No.
this DT is protected from Spell Pierce, not protected from Flusterstorm.
not worrying about Mind Break Trap yet either. So there's no Mind
No
Break Trap.
traps.
No
No
traps.
No trap.
But Fluster is threatening.
Yeah. I was gonna say that the push and pull here and the differences between Containment Priest and Dress Down are also very interesting in the matchup. Whereas a Containment Priest you need to put into play before the Show and Tell resolves, where the Dress Down you can put in with the Show and Tell. Here's the Oath.
So what's the benefit of?
And there's the
Oh,
Containment
there
Priest
it
end
is.
step.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. So can get access to the black. Maybe there's the Abrupt Decay again for that Containment Priest.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Okay. Wasteland on the trop.
And
Time Vault.
Okay.
So the good news here is a lot of times the Oath deck, if it has mana, will put the Oath trigger on the stack because there's a creature in play, and then to kill the you'd have to have an Orchard token, but like
Yeah.
there's a lot of timing windows in the upkeep here. Nothing when you don't have any mana
Yeah.
and you don't have another Orchard token.
Yeah.
And that's kind of critical that Brian only has an island there because that means he's still 2 mana away from Abrupt Decay to get rid of that Containment Priest.
Right.
You need to remember Long Goodbye. So now if the sequence ends up being plays the Orchard that we know is in hand,
Yep.
passes the turn, Long Goodbye, uncounterable, kills the Containment Priest. If there's no second Containment Priest, Oath trigger, get an Atraxa, maybe lock the game up.
So Kevin's threatening here with the Urza Saga. Once we get to the third here, he's going to be able to pick up that key for the
Get
Time
some
Vault.
infinite turns coming right up very soon. So
Time walk? Looks like it was a time
Oh,
walk.
time.
that was a
Oh,
Time
wow.
Walk.
So we're 1 turn
Saga
away
Time
from
Walk.
being able to
Great.
take all
Whoa.
the turns.
and another hate piece, or just floating in there too.
Yep, cycling, getting
Well,
an
now
island
we
here.
have a nice thing happening here where we have constructs to back up our Containment Priest. It will mean that Brian doesn't have to use the Orchard, but we have a way to continue winning, a way to maybe, help with like a Caracas bouncy Atraxa,
Yep.
clock the opponent that way. But Saga on its own is representing Manifold Key on the next
Yep.
turn. So Brian not only has to try to figure out a way to get his Oath come through, also needs to figure out a way to stop infinite turns from happening.
There's a
This is a
lot
tight
that
spot.
that Coval needs to deal with here.
I wouldn't say this is
I-
the tightest spot Brian's been in since I started commentating after his Doomsday opponent
needs-
had full grip. But
At least a Force of Vigor right here in the one
oh,
of.
Haywire Might and the Tropical off of the Lorien revealed means that the oath is not happening no matter what.
No.
Wow.
That's brilliant. That's why you play the card.
Yes.
Yeah.
And time is running out.
Yeah,
Will
that
we
w-
see abrupt decay? Not abrupt decay. Abrupt decay will be
Oh
later.
man, are we gonna? I would love to see a show and tell into like Citadel and see what happens here. You get one spin.
Time walk,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Now, do you-
now
Do you fire off the Haywire Might?
I would have fired off the Haywire Might because the long goodbye's here.
Oh,
There's the long goodbye.
long goodbye. The trigger's on the stack?
Yeah, the triggers are already on the stack.
Yeah.
You had to fire off the long goodbye on the first turn
Yeah.
of the time walk.
Ooh.
Now we're getting an Atraxa. I think that
Wow.
was a bit of a mistake, but there's still the Urza Saga. So this Atraxa still has to hit.
Atraxa still has to be able to answer the key that's
Right.
about to hit the
Right.
board
So
next
Let's
turn.
see what we got.
Sages, Strip
Mental
Mines,
misstep.
No rod. Oh my!
No rod
Picked up a
force.
no rod.
Abrupt Decay as well, and
He's-
a land.
Wow.
Oh, he's gonna get away with it.
Wow.
Gonna get away with it.
Wow.
Okay. The one land?
Unbelievable. And the
One
land.
land.
Though. And the null rod cannot
Wow.
be killed by the Haywire Might.
Cannot. Once that hits, it does nothing.
Unbelievable.
That is.
Yeah.
Kevin will just be kicking himself.
Yeah. Need, like you said, right? Needed to fire off that Haywire Might.
Wow.
What about force? Well, there's a force in Brian's hand. Oh, we're gonna kill the oath. Yeah. I mean, better late than never. We don't want a second Atraxa.
I think one's enough. All
Long
right.
goodbye was the punish, and long goodbye was what Brian had.
So there was this tiniest window. Do you think Kevin saw that?
Could have just been rushed through it with the
Yeah.
time walk and just didn't see it.
He might have like just F6'd in his mind when the time walk turn happened.
That's
and
what I
just,
was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
A
all
long
right,
day, right? You're in the semifinals.
Right.
It's been a long day, and
that's a very small window.
Mm-hmm.
He had to have exactly that because I think the mana didn't even line up.
Yeah.
For, I mean, long goodbye was the only thing that could possibly be there.
Well, you have to also think like, what else are we doing with this Haywire?
Yeah.
Like, do we need it to attack for one? We
No,
don't.
yeah.
It's only here to kill oath. Let's just cash in on the oath before something bad happens.
yeah.
Exactly.
And something bad
Something
definitely
bad.
did happen.
This is a Brian Coval match. Something bad's gonna happen.
And chat, for the record, there's one long goodbye in
Yeah,
this
one
deck.
long goodbye. One long goodbye. Yep.
Or no.
Okay, Vexing Bauble off of the Saga. So, you make a mistake or something slips your mind in a match, it's just as important to know how you follow up and recover.
Yep.
So, what can we do from this spot? There's an Atraxa in play, but there's a Caracas in our deck. There's a Source of Postures maybe in our deck. We can answer this. Null Rod, a bit harder to answer.
Does Kevin have a way to get rid of the null rod?
Portable.
Okay.
Portable hole will be good.
So, but we're now not threatening Vault Key anyways because our Saga did not find
Already
its key.
fired off. Yep.
We found a Vexing Bauble, which is an interesting one, but it does blank the known Force of Will in Brian's hand.
Yes. And again, Kevin's at 22 life here, right?
Is that
There's
ancestral
time.
that just got
There's
fired
There's a
time.
off?
Merchant for Ancestral.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
So, not even a terrible spot for Kevin.
Yeah.
Still possible to recover. And probably a more interesting game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Caracas is in this as
Yes.
a one of.
Yes. That's a strip mine on another orchard. So now the mana, Brian is off black mana,
Okay.
and off white mana, if that mattered. And now there's black mana. But there wasn't another land, or maybe it could have been one in his original hand
Yeah.
before the attraction trigger. We don't know that. Okay, up to 21, down to 15. 15, a good number.
Great number considering Trax's power and toughness.
3 strikes.
Looks like Kevin would appeal to force there.
Force, not great with your Vexing Bauble in play.
That cannot be popped.
That cannot be activated to draw a card because of a Null Rod. Portable Hole. What?
Wow.
This is like my
Wow.
stream.
Just
Amazing.
called shot. Boom.
I didn't know that was there. Sorry.
All right, Justin Nostradamus.
So what's the next card then, Coval?
Yeah,
So now we
is there a key on the top
now
as
we
well?
need to crack this, right? Okay, so now the Force of Will, we can
Force of
crack the
Will is
bubble.
live, yeah.
Well, only if we crack the bubble
Yeah.
and free up Brian's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these life totals are relevant here, where that's 3 swings in with a Atraxa before anything actually is solidified.
Ooh,
Abrupt decay, just
portable
right on the hole.
Oh, back in play. Here
Yeah.
we go.
Off of the black source that we found. Banger. Okay.
Clock is
Okay.
ticking. Two more turns
Okay,
here.
now the only way to remove the Null Rod is to lure us back the portable hole.
That's
and
a
we
lot of
are
mana.
And now there's 2 Null Rods too.
Null Rod.
Oh.
If you thought 1 Null Rod was tough, we have
Wow,
2 to
it's
deal with, and
gone.
that's
It's over.
it. That's it.
That's it. Wow.
And Brian Coval, with the tiniest of
How
windows,
did he do it?
threads the needle and takes down Kevin 2 games to 1.